Hello and welcome to Gameplay Cast. In this video we're going to discuss some ideas for improvements to make the smash hit Space Marine 2 even better. Firstly, I said this in my review for Space Marine 1 and 2, the link to which should be popping up on the screen now, but the Gears of War reload mechanic would really perfect the shooting gameplay. It would add that extra urgency and skill-based payoff to the reloading, which I think is currently missing. Like, it just feels like it should be there, and it isn't. I'm well aware that Horde mode is on their roadmap, and for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, here it is. I really hope they take inspiration from the Gears franchise and add some 40k style equivalents for the fortifications, turrets and upgrades. I still play the Horde mode from Gears 4 with a few of my mates occasionally, and it really is a great game mode. Add some decent XP rewards, and plenty of 40k Grim Dark, and it could be great. And the possibilities are endless. I mean, greater demons, crazy battlefields in the warp. Saber could do some really crazy things here. It's not so much of an improvement, more of a keep the focus on making more operations and keeping the flow of fresh enemies, bosses and objectives into the game. This is something that is probably the make or break for the season pass. Like, get it right and a good number of people will keep coming back to play. Get it wrong and the player base will just keep crashing to the point where support is no longer possible or worthwhile. Equally, be very careful with balancing changes. Nerfing things only seems to work out if the vast majority of players think something is actually broken. I'm thinking of the Railguns and Helldivers 2 here. Like, no one appreciated those being nerfed, and what did it really achieve? Based on the last point, I think that the devs at Saber could totally rip off Helldivers 2 in some form. The Imperium already uses drop pods, and a procedural mission mode might be something that will keep players busy for quite a long time, as each mission would have different objectives to the last. And they already have the spawn system for the enemies, so it kind of fits. Admittedly, creating this is a bit of a departure from what they currently have, so maybe a bridge too far. I think the devs missed a trick keeping the main campaign and the operations so separate. What I mean is that players should get credits and rewards for playing the standard missions. This was something that Halo Reach got so right, in that every way of playing rewarded you. There should be unlockable items based on the standard campaign progress / exploration, and I don't know, maybe the ability to play as a custom Marine too, though I get why they wanted the blue and gold for all the cutscenes. Again, I said this in my review, but more execution animations would be really great. Particularly, I'm thinking of if you execute an enemy with a heavy weapon, like just eviscerating something with a heavy bolter, or some executions with your secondary or primary gun, like overloading a plasma incinerator down a Tyranid throat. Stuff like that. Just squeeze a bit more variety out. Though again, I appreciate that they have to come up with a whole suite of new animations and changes for every melee weapon they add, but I do think this would be worthwhile. Bit of a wildcard this one, and I'm not sure how this could be implemented, but there are some pretty iconic vehicles in 40k, I'm sure you'd agree. And wouldn't it be awesome to take control of a Dreadnought, or have a bit of a Halo style tank segment added to a few of the up and coming operations? Hell, even a couple of minigame bits where you control the battle barge's armaments in a space battle would be sweet. They are definitely going to add more enemies and weapons, so hopefully this will come in due course, but I personally would love to see a Librarian or Chaplain class added. Maybe even some faction specific classes, like a Deathwing Knight, maybe? And could we get some Terminator armor for some of the missions perhaps? Like, come on, every 40k fan wants to suit up as a Terminator. Make it happen. It would also be cool if multiple players of the same class could deploy on missions together, as well as it's kind of annoying when you're trying to level a certain class and no one wants to swap out. They are already working on improving matchmaking to help with this last point, but time will tell. Not my personal bag as a loyal son of the Lion, but I get that there are a lot of heretics. I mean, people out there want to get into customizing Chaos characters, and I can see the appeal. It would be pretty sweet if they could add some heretic operations and customization though. Some missions in the warp, see some different demons and factions, I don't know, kill some Tau, maybe? Side note, it would be also good if we could swap some of the shoulder decals and customizations around, so that like the left shoulder could become the right shoulder and vice versa. Just a point, you know. I think low accurate Deathwing are supposed to have the old Crux Terminatus on their left shoulder and the Winged Sword on their right. I'm just saying. The last thing before I sign off is less of an improvement and more of a warning for the devs. Too many games that try to build and maintain a player base with season passes and updates fail. They fail through focusing too much on the money. If you continue to make content of the quality that we already have, a lot of people will stick around, but the second you start to nickel and dime players, it's game over. Don't fall into the trap. Keep the focus on fun and high quality content, and the money will look after itself. Also, if I may, keep a short leash on your social media team too, as many games and companies release poorly thought through posts and then double down on mistakes, instead of just admitting they were wrong. Basically, long story short, look at Helldivers 2 and don't fall into the same traps as they have. Anyway, that's my thoughts on what I would like to see in the game going forward. What's yours? Let me know in the comments below. That is all you get, and as always, Erebus.